So for this video, I'm going to be walking you guys through my cake room. This is where I decorate all of my cakes, where I make all of my cakes. I do everything but baking in this room. It's actually just a bedroom. Well, it was just a bedroom that we turned into my cake room. It's conveniently connected to the kitchen. It has a half bath and it's right next to the front door, so it's perfect for what I do. Hopefully you guys can get a few organization tips and storage ideas from this video. Let's get right into it. This first wall is where I store my mixers and all of my cake pans. So this unit is actually from IKEA, and then you can buy separate drawers for it or doors for it, and that's what I did here. So I have 4 of these, and I just keep all of my pans in these top 4. And my mixers, I don't use them here, I just store them here, and when I need them I take them to the kitchen or I use them on the table. And I keep all of my spatulas and a few knives in this jar right behind my table, right behind my work table, so I can just reach over and grab them when I need them. So all of my fondant buckets are down in the corner. And then in this storage thing I have a bunch of my baking supplies. So this first one is measuring cups and measuring spoons. And then I have my spatulas and my whisks in here. Right here I have all of my mixer attachments. My little food colorings are in here. They're kind of a mess, but I just keep those in there. And then this drawer is filled with a bunch of random containers. And here I keep my receipts and my piping bags. I'm all out of piping bags right now, but that's what's usually in here. And then down there it's just some random stuff. So this next cart is filled with a bunch of my smaller items. So I have my luster dust in here and my edible leaves. A good storage idea for your luster dust is to keep them upside down because it's way easier to see the color when they're this way. Then I have all of my piping tips. This little tray that I have my piping tips on is actually a lipstick holder, and I just store all of my piping tips by size and by style. And then the larger ones, I keep them on the side. And then those are just random ones that I don't really use. Then I have my cobblers and my flower nails back there. So next up are my cutter sets. I keep these separate from the rest of my cookie cutters because these are the ones that I use the most often. And then I have mats, rollers, and levels. And then in here, it looks a mess, but it's where I have all of my smoothers. This is all of my random kitchen items. And then in here, I keep my alphabet cutters, dowels, toothpicks, skewers. There's some chopsticks in there, but this is meant to be skewers. And this is my edible image supplies, so I keep my extra inks in here, my papers. And then down here is just a few random things. So in this I have sprinkles and a few little fondant items that I had leftovers. Up here I keep my sprinkle mixes, food colors, CMC powder, and my flour and my powdered sugar for dusting. So this wall unit is from IKEA. It's actually adjustable, so you can change the height to whatever you need it to be. You can add shelves. Up on top I keep my cake stands and a bunch of random items. And here I have my ribbons. These are my 100-yard ribbon spools. And then these are recipes, recipe books, a few random items, and then a few pictures. So this next shelf has a few more ribbons. These are the smaller ribbons. I keep all of my number cutters in here, some cookie cutters. These are flower supplies for creating flowers, and then a few fondant tools in there. Next to it I keep all of my molds in here. And then down here it's just a few more flower making supplies. So next to this I have this cup. I like to keep these tools handy because these are some of my most used tools. A small rolling pin, my fondant extruder, scissors. You always want to have something to write with handy. My scribe. And I like keeping these spatulas up here because they honestly work so great for cutting fondant. They work a lot better than most of the blades that I've used. Oh, and then you're gonna want to have an edible marker handy too for marking dowels or whatever you need. So that stays right here, so I can just reach in there and grab what I need when I need it. So in this thing I have a lot of my tiny tools. This little storage thing It's actually, I actually covered it in contact paper, which I mean, I'm sure you can tell. It was colorful, I wasn't really digging all those colors, so I covered it in contact paper. Up here I keep my hearts and my stars, my small heart and my star cutters. And then all of my brushes. Brushes are honestly one of those tools that you can just never have enough of when it comes to cake decorating. This next one is blades and acupuncture needles. And here I have edible markers. These Chef Master ones are my favorite ones because they have two ends to them. So they have a thicker end, and then on the other end it's really thin. So these are all of my plastic fondant tools, and then underneath that I have all of my metal tools. So some more spatulas, crimpers, dotting tools, the extra parts to my fondant extruder, and then just a few random extracts down there. So on this next shelf, these bins are full with my small appliances. And then I have my sprinkles in this top one, and on the bottom it's a bunch of my molds, my larger molds. So in this container, it's a bunch of random cookie cutters. And then next to this, I have my paper straws, some of my paper straws. These are like favor bags, and then my hot glue gun. And then next to that, it's a bunch of random like party supplies. So this unit is one of those, but it was spray painted gold. On top, I keep stands and dessert trays and jars. And then I have like filming stuff, my lighting stuff. And then I keep egg trays. I only have a few, but those are perfect forms for like making flowers and just drying different items on there. And then up here I have some of my bowls. They're not all here right now. Some of them are dirty, so they're in the sink. So in here I keep all of my cardstock paper and my cardstock pads. And these are perfect for covering cake boards. And then some cooling racks, turntables, and Lazy Susan. And then I have my larger baking pans and trays there. My rolling pin, my edible image printer, label maker, scale. On this last shelf I have just a bunch of random like party items. So there's just some more trays and whatnot there. And then in this next one, it's there's like streamers, little containers, it's just a bunch of stuff. And here I keep all of my shipping envelopes. And then on this bottom one, I have my rolling pins and silicone mats. This next shelf is where I store my dry ingredients. Dry ingredients and ingredients that aren't perishable. And then up on top I have a dummy cake and then some styrofoam for dummy cakes. So this is the door that leads to the bathroom. So this is just an over the door hanger that I got from Ross, and I keep my aprons and my large mitts on there. This next wall is just a few family pictures. In here there's a little closet. So up on top I have a bunch of like random stands. I have that chocolate fountain. All of this stuff, basically I don't use it, but you never know when you're gonna need it. And then I keep all of my cake boards, which I definitely need to restock pretty soon. They're almost all out. But I keep those there. Some more boards, and then these are my 8-inch boxes. And another super huge dummy tier. And then down here, it's honestly just a bunch of random stuff. This is the table that I use. I definitely 100% don't recommend this at all. It's not sturdy at all. I was trying to go with a cheap option, and well, you get what you pay for sometimes. It's all messed up now. So I'm definitely gonna replace that soon. But that's just an IKEA table. It's one of their cheap tables. And yeah, so that's basically the end of this video. That's my entire room. Alright guys, well that's the end of this video. Hopefully this was a little bit helpful to someone. I'll make sure to link down a few of the items that I use for storage down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.